So let's start lying on our mat. Let's do that. So if you want your, if you have your Shavasana blanket somewhere close, grab that. You can put it over now maybe. And then make sure you're warm. So we'll stay here for like 5 minutes or so to tune in and notice where we're at. And then we'll move on from there. So we don't want to get cold while we lie there. And then as you rest yourself down, make it a very conscious, make it a meditation pretty much. So you lie down and you shift your hips, your pelvis, you gently roll it, circle it, tilt it forwards and back, and let it rest on earth. And then you do the same with your shoulder blades, really, really conscious, feeling them, gently tucking them under without squeezing and compressing the lower back. And then rest your hands alongside your hips, palms facing up. And close your eyes. And again, and do the same with the back of your head. Gently shift it, nudge it side to side. Make sure your neck is nice and long, and then check in. Might I still be holding onto my head? Might I still be holding tension, holding it? And then see if you can just rest it down into earth. Resting your shoulders into earth, your rib cage, your back heart, letting it rest into earth. We're letting our spine rest into earth. Our lower back becoming heavy. Our pelvis resting. And because our pelvis has supported our hip joints and all the muscles around the hip joints, they're given permission to soften. Notice how your knees gently flop outwards, your toes gently flop outwards. And continue to check in, where am I holding on? Where am I resisting gravity and resting into earth? Move your awareness down the legs into feet, back up through the legs into pelvis, ribs, shoulders, softening the collarbones, open front shoulders. Really let the space between your ribs soften. Bring your awareness down your arms, into hands, all fingers soft. Gently stroking the insides of your palms with your awareness. Just noticing, maybe that little question, how do I know my hands exist? Without moving, without looking, how do I know my hands exist? How do I know my body exists? And spread your awareness throughout, just to that sense of whatever is there, that sense of aliveness maybe. Soften your neck. Come to forehead, the space between eyebrows. Gently turn your inner gaze upwards, as if you're looking up into the space between your eyebrows. And from there, as if it was shining, spread out softness up towards your crown, outwards towards your ears, down through your eyes, along your nose, into lips. Maybe picture a bright light there, just between your eyebrows, and feel that warmth spread throughout. Keep shifting your gaze upwards into that space. Feel your lips and your jaws soften. And notice and explore, as if this was your very first moment in this body, on this planet. Develop a deep sense of curiosity. Curiosity to feeling your body from within. Curiosity towards your breath. Notice where you feel your breath most. And go deeper and deeper and deeper. Sharpen your focus and attention. And follow breath from the space that surrounds you into your body. Notice how your body moves to breathe and how it just does that. Maybe you're very focused and present already, and you might feel your heart beat. You might feel your blood being pushed through your veins. And acknowledge all these layers with a deep sense of curiosity. Really being in awe, with wonder about this magical body. And notice how many sensations and experiences are present when it seems like not much is happening. Notice your breath move you. And then set an intention. Set an intention for our practice together. But also set an intention for your day. And setting an intention doesn't need to be anything crazy, but just, it means know what you want. Know what matters to you. Know what it is that today will nudge your life, will nudge you a little closer to what your perfect life would look like. Notice what today would nudge you a little deeper into living a good life, contributing, serving, being there, being present, giving joy. And then let that move through your practice. From here, slowly start to move. Stay connected with breath and stay connected with heartbeat, intention. Stay connected with your third eye center as you gently shift and move. Start rolling your hips, rolling your ankles, rolling your wrists. Eventually, let's stretch our arms up and over, make ourselves super, super, super long. And then reach your arms out to the sides in line with shoulders. Bring your knees up to chest, both of them, and then just circle them. If you can, stretch your legs up to ceiling. And just circling as if you were drawing circles on your ceiling, massaging your lower back, your sacrum. Bending knees into chest again. Exhale your knees over to the right. Notice what the left side feels like. Gently, mindfully turning gaze, inner gaze towards the left. Adding weight into left chest, into left shoulder. Opening heart wide, lifting sternum, lifting heart. Breathe deeply into sternum, into chest. Inhale here, exhale, knees back to center. Inhale here, exhale, knees over the other way. Soften knees onto earth. Relax. Turn your gaze, your inner gaze, your awareness, your attention towards the right. And soften into earth. Every inhale, gently expanding. With every exhale, you open up. Let your chest expand. Inhale here, exhale, knees to center, hands onto knees. Gently shift the left and right. And then hug your arms around your knees. Bring your knees into chest and your forehead to knees. Round yourself out. And then from here, keep your chest lifted. Just step your feet down onto mats. Feet mat wide or hip wide apart, knees pointing up. And then slowly roll yourself up just a tiny bit until you get stuck. And then you roll back down. Reach your arms up and over. At the same time as you reach your arms up, point your tailbone away. So you're pressing your sacrum, your lower back into max. Really activating core and glutes. Inhale here and exhale. Continue to breathe. You roll yourself up again. And maybe a little higher this time. And rolling back down, reaching arms up and over. Keeping lower back, lower ribs in the mat. Really strong through your navel center. And rolling up again. And rolling up again. Until you get stuck, you roll back down. Inhale to lengthen, core still switched on. Rolling up again. And maybe you'll notice you can go a little higher, or you might need to grab your thighs to lift a little taller. And then we'll roll all the way down, keeping sacrum and lower back on the mat. Spreading fingers out, reaching. Inhale here, and with our next exhalation, we'll flow back up to seated. Strong navel, crossing our legs, hands onto knees. Gently shift yourself forwards and back, rolling onto the front pelvis towards the tailbone, shifting forwards and back. And then start arching and rounding your spine with that pelvis movement. And really bring attention to sliding shoulder blades together, sliding shoulder blades apart, just moving, broadening, opening, finding space. Next time you come forwards, hinge all the way forwards and fold your spine forwards. Let your head rest either in space or on the mat. Let your back body open up. Breathe long from tailbone into the neck where spine meets skull, and see if you can soften there a bit. Come halfway up, lift your chest, lengthen a little more, and gently sway left and right, right and left. Keep your sit bones reaching away. And then inhale again, exhale, folding forwards. Soften over your legs. We lift halfway again, we walk our hands over to the right. So, walking hands over to the right, maybe left hand onto right. Inhale to lengthen and exhale. See if you can fold your chin over your knee, but the left sit bone stays grounded deeply, making space. Another big inhale and another exhale. Soften. Then lift your head, lift your gaze slightly, come halfway up. Move through center over to the left. Now right hand onto left, and then soften into the right side of your body. Maybe chin over knee. Keep your right sit bone grounded and keep rolling your right armpit down to mat. Feel that opening through your back body. And we'll move our hands to center and we round ourselves up to stand, to sit. Rolling shoulders back. Couple of times, hands onto knees. Lift your shoulders up and draw them down, and again up and down. And see what it feels like to sit in your most spacious, expansive way. And we'll uncross our feet, bring our feet down onto mat in front of us. We'll move our hands back, fingertips pointing the same direction as the toes. And then just with the hips hovering, gently stretching wrists. So stretching wrists, at the same time very conscious of your shoulders, of your chest. Gently shifting hips to heels and hips to hands, and play around with your range of movement. Warming up the shoulders, making space. And maybe you feel like lifting the hips up high, opening chest a little wider, pointing tailbone away. So again, think of that line from tailbone into neck. Make it long. The space between your ribs, open them up. Pubic bone lifting up towards sternum, sternum drops to pubic bone and your arms stretch. And release your sit bones back down. Cross your legs the unfamiliar way. Lengthen high and tall, gently hinging forwards and back on the sit bones. Just another one. And then folding over your crossed legs. And just notice, is there a difference? Does this feel different? Soften into the sensations. Coming up to seated, bring your feet a little closer and then roll over feet onto hands and knees. Spreading fingers. Check your knees, they're hip wide, your feet as well. All toes on the mat. And then circle around your wrists. Feel the earth under your hands. And then center yourself out. As you inhale, you arch your spine, you lift your sit bones, you lift your heart. Not so much the chin, more the heart. Slide the shoulder blades back. Inhale here and exhale, rounding it out. Broaden into your shoulder blades, lift your navel, tuck your tailbone. And inhale to arch, lengthen and lift. Flow in your own breath. Every exhale is a rounding. Feel your shoulder blades slide around on your back ribs, and if you need to move left and right or circle your shoulders or circle your hips, you can do that. We want to unstuck the shoulders, unstick and make space. Notice where our habitual patterns are sitting And see if we can reach beyond them, because if we can reach beyond in our physical body, we can also reach beyond in our mind. Now find your neutral spine, strong center, long lower back, long back ribs. Lift your knees, stretch the tops of your feet. Stretch them from big toes to pinky toes, rolling side to side. Bring your knees back down, tuck your toes under. And now lifting the knees just a little, lift your heels up high. So your heels come forward. Your knees and lower ribs want to touch. Your hands press forward and your sit bones lift up. And then sway your knees inwards and outwards. Notice where your default pattern lies. Stretching the toes. We are opening our shoulders. Shift our weight into left foot. Now your gaze is straight down to mat. Your neck long. Point your right toes up to ceiling. Stay bent. Stay high on your toes. Right foot down and left leg up. Right heel rises. Chest open. Gaze down to mat. And bringing the foot down. Both heels come onto mat. Feet hip wide apart. Let's bring the feet a little wider today. Now slide your hands up the shins onto knees and just hugging elbows into chest. Lift your heart forwards and up. Gently pointing knees apart, so your knees as wide as the feet. And then as you exhale, you gently fold forward. Allow your head to hang, your arms to hang. Sway from side to side. Notice where there's tension or where there's tight muscles you might feel like avoiding. That's where we create injuries. The more we avoid the discomfort of stretching into those spaces, the tighter they get. Let's do that again. Rounding up. Hands come onto thighs. Elbows tuck in. Heart opens wide. Knees wide. Folding from the pelvis. Letting your torso hang. Striving sit bones up. And the knees totally don't need to be straight for that. And then from here, bending knees, round yourself up to stand. And roll your shoulders back. Slide your shoulder blades apart and together, apart and together. Bring your feet together, your big toes touch. Spread your toes out wide and then lengthen tall. Allow your shoulder blades to drop. Feel your sternum lift and the crown of your head as well. Now picture your breath going through your center line, through the inner ankles, pelvic floor up into crown, and then as you exhale, there's a softness through the outside body. And then we'll inhale our arms to the sides and up, lengthen up, soften shoulders down. Grab the space above you, grow tall into it, and then sit back into chair. So your big toes are touching, heels together, knees together. Sitting deeply, bring your hands to heart, look forwards. So instead of looking down and rounding, hands rest on heart and you use your thumbs to lift your heart forwards. Inhale here, we twist towards the left. Maybe we can hook our right elbow over left knee. Keep your knees and feet in line and together. Press your hands into one another to twist. Lean into yourself. Relax here as much as you can. Another big inhale. Exhale, coming to center. Reach your hands up. If you can keep them together, keep them together. If they need to come apart, they come apart. Reach your arms back. Sit deep. Look up. Inhale. Exhale, hands to center. Twisting the other way. Hands stack. Spine twists. Shoulders open. Lengthening up. Lean into yourself. Another inhale. Another exhale. Coming back to center. Stay in your Utkatasana and reach your arms up and away. Now imagine your tailbone and fingertips were connected and you're stretching that line. Stretching that line. Look forwards. Spread your toes. Another inhale here and exhale, folding. Chest onto thighs. The hands land, the sit bones rise. However far they want to rise for you.
And be here in your forward fold. Notice blood rushing into head. Notice the sensation in your back legs. Feel a difference between left foot, left leg, right foot. Really observe. And then we'll bend our knees, look forward, walk our hands to the front mat. Spread our fingers wide. Step our feet slightly apart and find plank. And in your plank, if the knees need to help today, they totally can. Lift your sternum forwards and up. Slide your shoulders down. Lift your navel up and in. Point your tailbone down. Lengthen through your spine. Take another big deep inhale here. And exhale that into down dog. You're welcome to step your feet slightly in if that works for you. Have a look at your feet as you lift one heel at a time. Stretching out the back legs. See how your legs move. Maybe the knees twist, maybe the ankles. And then have a look forwards. Ground into the fleshy space between index finger and thumb. Relax your neck, open your chest. And then for a moment we'll bring our knees onto mat. Keep our toes tucked. Hips above knees. And just walk your hands forward. So forehead comes onto mat. If your shoulders feel quite tight, you can bring your hands apart, otherwise keep them parallel. And create a long, slow hanging bridge from tailbone into neck. Let your sternum, your heart soften to mat. Let your shoulders soften. Give your heart permission to surrender towards mat until your sternum rests on earth. And from here, walk your hands back in. Notice the sensations around your shoulders. Ground your hands and mindfully slowly lift the knees back up into down dog. Notice what might have changed. And then from here we rise our right leg up, lifting it up high, flexing the foot, lifting the heel high. Look at the space between your hands. And then bending both knees into chest, stepping foot to land between hands. Good. Lifting, so your knee is above the heel. Inhale here. As you exhale, you gently straighten it out. So the hips reach back. Right sit bone wants to lift high. And then the knee above the heel again, looking forwards and shifting back. And looking forwards and shifting back. And knee above heel. Find your feet, slowly come up. Find your feet, lift yourself up into lunge. Bring your hands through the sides. Explore through the sides onto hips. Grab your hips. Fingertips in front of your hips. Thumbs at the back. And then front knee forward, back knee back. And just feel here for a moment. Keep lifting into heart. Keep sliding into shoulder blades. Keep lifting into gaze. Right hip back, left hip forwards. Knees apart and away from one another. Keeping this alignment, we maybe strive our hands up again. Bring our hands together and down to heart. From here, hinging forwards from the hips. So lift your back heel for a moment. Keep your hips parallel, your chest parallel, and then drop your back heel again. We twist to the right, hook our left elbow over right knee, and gently stack. So knee above heel, elbow on knee, another elbow above that elbow. Left leg strong, twist and open and lean into yourself. Take another inhale here. Another exhale to prepare. We inhale back to center. Slowly striving our arms up. And from here we open into warrior two for a moment. Roll your back heel down. Check your toes there slightly forward. Knee above heel. And then sway from the pelvis. From the pelvis. Let your hands rest on space. Looking forwards, align your collarbones and arms with the long side of your mat. And for a moment we'll reach back, drop our hand and lift our front hand
Pelvis upright, lengthen, lift to right pelvis. Coming forward, just gently swaying forward, elbow to knee, left arm up and opens. A gentle opening. Beautiful. We come back up, warrior two. Sway forwards and back. Let's do that again. Reaching back, long lines through the right body. Hand drops, arm lifts, open wide. Coming forwards, reaching forwards. The elbow to inner knee, open the knee a little wider. And left arm over or up, left chest opens wide. Yes, beautiful. Relax all your toes, soften them, coming back up. Warrior two. Sway your left hand past your hip, roll onto left toes into lunge warrior. Well done. So right hip back, left hip forward. Let's sit a little deeper. Let's expand a little further. Let's bend our back knee onto mat. And now keep your left hand lifted as you reach your right hand gently down, lifting left hand up to ceiling. Your tailbone pokes forwards, your front hips lift up, and you lean into left hip flexors. And then you rise your right arm up, and you lift it up again. Inhale here. As you exhale, you lean forwards. You reach forwards, you bring your hands onto earth, spread your fingers. Find your right foot striding back into three-legged downward facing dog. And then the right leg steps down onto mat. Maybe walking your down dog. How about we come into plank for a moment? Plank, notice the difference between the two sides. From plank into chaturanga, or have your knees support you, point your toes and then build your chaturanga slowly from the hips. We're moving into a cobra or maybe an up dog. However feels true for you today. And then rolling over toes or onto hands and knees, back into down dog. So from down dog, we lift our left leg up high, flexing the foot, lifting the heel. Soften the shoulders, feel the difference, feel what's allowed. And then look to the space between your hands, bend both knees into chest, and land your left foot between your hands. Knee above heel, fingertips light. We inhale to lengthen through heart, and as we exhale, we fold over our extended leg. We bend and extend in our own pace, in our own perfect way. And then meeting with our knee above our heel, the fingers become light. We notice our feet and hips, and we notice this side might be very different to the other. Arms up, and then arms through the sides onto hips. Grab your pelvis, fingertips forwards, thumbs back, roll your left hip back and your right hip forward. And make sure it's not just the chest that twists, but the hips and elbows out to the sides. And your right knee strives back, your left knee strives forward. Feel into right hip flexors. Very good. Inhale your arms through the sides and up. Bring your palms together, draw them down to heart. Lift your sternum even higher. And then lean forwards. Align your torso. Feel. Twist over to the left. Right elbow lands on left knee above heel. Elbow on knee, elbow above elbow, right leg strong, core strong, glutes strong, twist, lean into yourself. Open the left chest up to ceiling, lean your head back, open your heart. Another inhale, another exhale, coming back to center, slowly, rising the arms up, and maybe opening elbows out, opening palms. And then from here we open into warrior two. Good. Check your back foot. The toes are pointing slightly forward. Opening hips, arms out to the sides, chest and pelvis and arms want to align with the long side of the mat. But check your front knee. It must not come inwards. So Celeste, I think bring it outwards more, your front knee. Anchor your front knee above your heel. Good. And the rest can align. The back hip can come forwards, that's fine. But the front knee must stay above the heel. Good. See if you can almost lift yourself out of your legs. So instead of collapsing into them, lifting up. And with this lift, we slowly reach back. Good. Keeping front knee above the heel, outwards. Strong glutes, strong navel. Coming forward. Leaning forward. Arm to inner knee. And the upper arm comes up and over. Slide your shoulder blade down. Open your chest wide. Coming up. Warrior two. Leaning back. Lengthen up. Very flowy. Explore. Notice where you get stuck, coming forward. Let's do that again. Arm up and over. Open chest wide, open heart wide. Coming back up into warrior two. Soften your hands into space. Find lightness. Right hand comes past the hip. We roll onto right toes. So your outer right hip needs to throw forwards, left hip back. Align your hips. Rise your arms up. Inhale here. We exhale our hands forwards and down onto mat. We spread our fingers shoulder wide. We spread our hands and our fingers. We lift our left heel up. Extend your heel up, lengthen up a little higher. And we bring the leg down onto mat. Have your big toes touch. Bring your knees as wide as the mat. Point your toes back and settle your sit bones to heels. You might want to start with your hands slightly in and your chest lifted. And then from here, make space. Externally rotate your thighs and then rest your torso into the space between your knees. Your forehead onto mat or onto hands. Sometimes I place my mouth onto mat. It doesn't usually work for me to do the chin. My neck feels a bit tense then. So soften into mat. You want to drop your sternum, your heart into earth. So we're softening all those muscles that hold tight around the shoulder blades. Our upper back is really hard to stretch. So now we're softening into that, simply by surrendering into gravity. Just that. And we'll look forwards to come out. Lift our chest gently, come onto hands and knees, and we'll bring our knees together to come onto tummy. Now lift one leg at a time, make the legs nice and long. Your hands are in line with ribs, and we slide them forward until our elbows land under our shoulders. The fingers spread wide, the forearms are parallel. Squeeze your glutes to point your tailbone away, and press the tops of the feet into mat, lifting kneecaps and thighs. And then keep rolling the tips of your shoulder blades down and away so the front shoulders open up. And if this is enough, so try and lift your navel away from the mat. If this is enough, stay. If you feel like, oh, let's see if I can lift the elbows, you're welcome to. Keep it strong through your core. Every inhale, you lengthen through your spine. Notice what your legs are doing. Lengthen through your spine. Rise into your crown. Deepen into core. Deepen into navel. And then we'll slowly open the elbows out to the sides. Stack the hands to place our forehead onto hands. Guide your breath into lower back. Breathe your back body wide. Lift your head off your hands, and this is one of my favorite poses. It's just a bit tricky to explain. Place your left hand right on the left shoulder, and then your right elbow comes out to the side. So you're lying on your mat, and it's like this. Left hand is under shoulder, pressing into mat, and right elbow is on the mat, 90 degrees, yes. And then you push into left hand to roll onto the right side of your body. Yes, beautiful. And your leg, it doesn't really matter. Rest your head down onto mat. So it's a shoulder, it's a chest opener. So if you want to move your head slightly back towards your shoulder, that's great. Beautiful. And soften. And again, guide your breath into spine. So your tailbone extends away, your spine is long, your core is strong. The stronger your core, the more deeply you can take that opening into chest. And then come back onto tummy and then swap sides. So now right hand under shoulder, left elbow out to the side. Good. Have a look, there's like 90 degrees and 90 degrees. And then you roll over onto left hand side. Rest your head down. And maybe your legs just stack. Maybe the top foot is hovering somewhere. Notice if there's a difference between the two sides. And stay really strong in your center. Strong in your center so that it's the shoulder that has to give, not the core, not your center. And breathe. Focus on your breath. Notice every time your mind wants to drift, come back to inhaling deeply and exhaling deeply. Inhaling broad and wide and exhale to surrender. Let's do another 2 breaths here. And then roll back onto tummy. Take a moment just resting with both hands alongside your lower ribs, tucking elbows into ribs. Gently looking forwards, your toes are grounding, your knees are lifted, your tailbone long. Shoulder blades sliding back. Maybe the chest can lift a little. And inhale here, exhale, contract through navel, press your knees into mat and come up onto hands and knees. Knees hip wide, feet hip wide, hands shoulder wide. Inhale to arch and exhale to round. And keep flowing, 5 more breaths in your own pace. Guide your breath exactly where it's needed this moment. And then we'll find neutral spine alignment. Left hand under left shoulder, right arm rises. Your core strong, your lower back long. And it can feel quite tight here. And see, how can I make more space? Where are my muscles shaking, holding on? Inhale here. Exhale, hand down onto mat. Round into right hand, left hand up. And check, notice the difference. Are your shoulder blades still sliding to hips? Are you still strong through your navel center, long through your spine? Relax your toes and your feet open a little more. Inhale and exhale, hand onto mat. Swapping sides again, left hand grounds, right hand rises. Open wide. Maybe a little more space now, or a little deeper sense of familiarity. This time we'll scoop the hand in behind our left wrist. Roll our shoulder down, land on the outer shoulder, head onto mat, rested, and twist. Left hand pushes into mat to gently twist a little deeper. And then maybe see what it feels like to arch and round the lower back. Just that little forwards and backwards tilt in your pelvis. Exploring our default movement patterns. Pushing left hand into mat. Right arm rises slowly. Open. Beautiful. Expand. And hand down. Grounding hand, left arm rises. Open your chest. Open your front shoulders. No matter how difficult, how challenging, how uncomfortable. Keep sliding shoulder blades to hips. Inhale here. Left hand scoops in behind right. Make sure lots of space around the neck. Bring your head down onto mat. Gently twist. And then see again, arching, tilting pelvis forwards and back. Feel free to move around your spine. Soften your toes, maybe gently turning head side to side. We press our right hand back into mat. Lift our left arm up. Maybe a little more space, maybe not. Hand comes down. Grounding hands, tap your toes. And it's quite a short down dog, so maybe the heels can come down into mat now. Strive high through the sit bones. And then I invite you to really let your heart drop to toes. So you're taking it into a deep shoulder stretch. Elbows slightly bent and pointing to back corners of the mat. Sit bones rising high. You want to arch your lower back here almost. And then bending knees looking forwards. Walk your hands to feet. Allow your heels to drop. Slide yourself halfway up. So hands onto thighs or shins. Lift and lengthen. And exhale to just fold it forwards. Maybe grabbing the opposite elbow. And just swaying forwards and back, or you maybe find stillness. Feel your feet grounding evenly. Lift your toes and wiggle them. Relax them back down. Feel your foot arches strong. And release your elbows and roll yourself up to stand. Rounding up to stand. Stacking yourself up. Roll your shoulders up and down and back and away. Feel your collarbones widen. Lift your right knee up. And then bring your hand past your inner right knee to foot and place your foot to inner thigh. And use your hands to open right knee and left hip bone away from one another. So deeply opening. You need to really contract into glutes to open wide. And then lifting tall, hands onto hips for a moment. Bring your pelvis to be upright. Elbows out to the side, a really strong pose. Yes, beautiful. Grounding foot into thigh. And if you like, you take your arms through the sides and up. Grab your crown, and once your hands are above you, and then as if you're wearing it, standing tall. Slide your shoulder blades down. Grow tall through your standing leg. It's tempting to shrink into that leg. See if you can make your heel hover. And really lift torso, lift spine out of pelvis. Again, picture the line from tailbone into crown. Let's bring our hands together. Now imagine you pulling your hair up, 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 up. You're making yourself taller than you've ever been. Another inhale here. And the hands come through the sides, down. The knee lifts forwards and up. And we drop it down, hands onto hips, and move it, shake it out. So if your feet need a bit of a stretch, maybe you tuck your toes under and gently stretch them out. Or you lift your heel forwards and up. And we're preparing to come onto the other side. So again, we step our feet hip wide apart. Checking our pelvis, it's upright. Our spine really long, tailbone long and hugged by our glutes. Left knee lifts up. Left hand past the inner knee to foot and then places the foot onto right thigh. Maybe you can bring your heel right up into groin and then ground it into inner leg. Open hip and knee away from one another. So your hips, this is really open and wide. Maybe hands onto hips, elbows out to the side, standing tall. Another breath here. And then reach your arms through the sides and up. Fingers spreading. Grab your crown, put it on your head. Grow taller. And then bring your hands together. And as if you're pulling a string that's attached to the crown of your head, you pull yourself tall. But it's not the shoulders that come up. You're pulling the crown up higher. Make your right heel almost become light and lift even taller. Lift your navel in, point your tailbone away. Notice how that makes you taller as well. Little taller, one more big breath. And then open hands through the sides. We bring our knee up and we place it down onto mat. Now bring yourself sideways onto mat and we step our feet wide. Have the outside edges of your feet parallel. Shift your weight forwards and back. Again, hands onto hips. Gently sway your hips side to side, side to side. Lift through the inner thighs, lift through your pelvic floor, lift through your spine. Lots of length, and then hinge from the hips, hinging forwards. Feel your sit bones reach back. Elbows out to the sides, lots of space. Another inhale here. As you exhale, you fold forwards. And you're welcome to move here. You're welcome to gently bend one knee at a time, moving from side to side, or you move from side to side with your legs straight. Maybe staying in a space where it feels challenging. What I often do is I use my hands and then gently massage that space that's tight. Or I use my hands to take myself deeper into the pose. For instance, here you can use your hands on your tailbone to tilt your pelvis even further forwards. Noticing that there's always more. There's always a deeper, a further we can go. Always an exploration. Always sensations that we much rather avoid. And then bring your hands under forehead. Keep your right fingertips here. Lift your left arm up. Up to ceiling. Beautiful. Twist. Lift your heart. So arch your back. Arch your back. Yes. Left hand down. Right hand up. Lift your sit bones. Arch your back. Lift your heart. Reach. Another inhale, exhale, hand down. And then hands onto hips. Inhale to prepare, exhale. Coming all the way up to stand. Gently heel toe our feet inwards. Until our feet are wide enough to come to squat. With our elbows on our inner knees. We squat and we gently massage and shift from left to right, right to left. Drawing circles around our heels. Using our elbows to open the knees wide. And maybe as we get more comfortable, stepping the feet a little wider. Really notice finding space into hips. Eventually the fingertips come down, your knees stay wide. And then just lift your hips up, 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 up. With the intention of arching the lower back. So if you lift your heart forward, lifting sit bones high, let your spine drop. And bring your sit bones back down. Elbows back to inner knees. Hands pressed together, open knees a little bit wider. Again, shift. And then we open our hands out through the sides, bring them back and come to sit. Bring the soles of our feet together. With your hands behind you, move towards your sit bones. So you'll feel your flesh pulling backwards. So you're gently pushing your hips forward. So instead of bringing your feet to hips, you bring your hips to feet. And maybe the hands need to stay here or they might come forwards. You want to gently butterfly your legs. Lift them up, lift them and lower them. Soften them. Close your eyes. Sit as tall as you can. Open your collarbones, open your upper back. Sitting tall. Then ask yourself, so stopping, coming to stillness, just ask yourself, what might need to happen to rest my outer knees onto mat? What would need to happen? And then asking the muscles around your hips. So where might you need to contract? Where might you need to let go? And then exploring without big visible movements, you open and open a little further. Sitting tall and opening a little further. Sitting a little taller and opening a little further. And then we open our eyes again. We slide our feet slightly forwards till it's like a diamond shape. And then we hinge forwards and fold forwards. Just let your knees drop outwards. Just let your spine unfold. There's no striving, no pushing, nowhere to get to. Notice the sensation, maybe the unfamiliarity, the discomfort. And continue to surrender. Continue to just open the knees wide. Surrendering into the forward fold. And chin to chest, slowly roll yourself up. And turn yourself so you have your mat behind you. And then keep your legs as they are. Now we keep the knees softening outwards like a butterfly. And from here we'll roll ourselves down onto mat. Rolling down, slowly one vertebra at a time. And once your spine is down, just draw your feet up a little closer to pelvic floor. Bring your hands onto hips and make sure your pelvis, your tailbone is nice and long and grounded. Make sure your lower back is nice and long, lots of space, and then let your knees drop outwards. Keep pointing your tailbone away. Keep your hip bones and lower ribs reaching towards one another. And then maybe hands rest on belly or on heart. Maybe hands out to the sides. And just take a moment here. Notice where you might be holding on or resisting gravity. If you feel like staying here for the rest of your Shavasana, you're welcome to. Otherwise, slowly stretch out your legs. Bring your heels mat wide. Keep your lower back long. Close your eyes and soften. Softening into your Shavasana. Closing the circle. Coming back to where we started. Coming back to where we left off. Coming back to breath. And to noticing all the subtle layers of this moment, which includes the world that surrounds you as much as the world that's within you. Let breath wash through you. Feel yourself expand with every inhalation. Soften and surrender on every exhale. Notice how much strength and power lies within this softness. Notice how powerful we become once we stop resisting what is, but learn to flow with it. Learn to flow into any direction life might demand of us. Going beyond our familiar patterns, going beyond what we like and what we know. Open to explore and experience new things. Open to push not just our own boundaries, but the boundaries of the world, and inspire others to do the same. Notice thoughts and images that arise in your inner movie theatre. Acknowledge them. No need to strive for a quiet mind. It quiets down all by itself when we let it be, not attached. And guide your attention back to breath. Flowing with breath. Let your breath deepen and widen, and eventually your breath it's like your breath moves your body. So expand and relax. Let your body move organically with your breath, coming back into body. Explore through gentle movements. And then in your own perfect way, find your way back up to seated. Take your time. Move consciously, effortlessly. Let your body move you. And crossing your legs for a moment, sitting tall. finding the sit bones, rising through spine, into crown, sliding shoulders down, lifting heart. Big expansive breath. Put that light back into the space between your eyebrows. Put a smile in your eyes. Then bring your hands together. Rest your thumbs onto forehead. Soften the forehead as you gently stroke your thumbs up and down. Feel that light underneath your thumbs. On our next inhalation, we'll lift and rise here. And as we exhale, we drop our thumbs onto heart, making sure mind and heart is connected. Looking down at heart, humble and grateful. We thank ourselves and we thank one another. Namaste.